to spooky stories to listen to in the dark.
This is Tale of Two Dead Girls, and we are your ghostesses. I'm Kayla.
And I'm Kale.
Cozy up, turn off the lights, and get ready to be spooked shitless.
Hello, my creepy crawlies. Today, I'm going to tell you about 3 Halloween attractions that are actually haunted. First up is a hometown favorite known as Fear Factory. Fear Factory is located at 666 West and 800 South. In the late 1800s, Fear Factory used to be a cement factory known as the Portland Cement Works. As the story follows on their website, George Howe was handling the maintenance of the coal crusher. One evening, George was alone in the factory, oiling the crusher before shutting it down for the night. As he reached across to apply the oil deep within the crusher, the machine grabbed his sleeve and began slowly pulling him into the gears. George's arm was first removed from the socket, then snapped and ripped from his body. Unable to free himself, the man was slowly but consciously pulled into the crusher. The roaring machinery and the solid factory walls silenced his cries. George Howe's entire body was eventually twisted into the gears before being spit out as nothing more than a torn and mutilated collection of bloody flesh. Other deaths include falling into the boiling vats, additional grindings, death by suicide via the train nearby, dismemberment, and many others. The Portland Cement Works eventually closed its doors. As the decades passed, the property fell into a terrible state of disrepair. In 2010, Fear Factory Haunted House acquired the property and began exploring its expansive spaces, silos, and multiple underground tunnels. Second on the list is another hometown favorite known as Asylum 49. Asylum 49 is an old mental hospital and nursing home located at 140 East 200 South in Tooele, Utah, just about 45 minutes outside of Salt Lake City. Before the hospital became Asylum 49 in 2006, it was once the home of Samuel F. Lee and his family back in 1873. Samuel and his family moved out in 1913, prompting the county to use the building as a nursing home and for patients that required special care. The building was transformed into a hospital by 1953. One of the haunting factors about the hospital was that there was no morgue. Instead, there was an unrefrigerated room designated for picking up the bodies of the deceased patients. After a new hospital was constructed, the Tooele Hospital finally closed in 2000, but the nursing home remained active until 2017. Elderly patients reported seeing little children when children are not present in the building. They say that the children are a sign that somebody in the nursing home is about to pass away. There are 3 main apparitions that are in this hospital. The first is a nurse in white that roams around the hospital named Maria. Patients have claimed that they have seen this nurse. When other nurses come in to help the patients say that the nurse in white has already helped them. A psychic medium went to the property and said that Maria protects the residents from entering the wrong spirit portal. The second apparition is a man in black that only manifests around 3 a.m. This man is said to be terrifying. The man in black was once seen walking into a patient's room. He locked the door, and the nurses called the maintenance to take the door off. When the door was removed, the nurses rushed in and found that the patient had passed away. The third apparition is a little girl. Could this little girl be the apparition of one of the children that shows up when someone is about to die? This little girl has made an appearance during the Halloween haunted houses as well. Visitors have claimed that this little girl follows them through the maze and then disappears. But no one under the age of 18 is allowed at this haunted attraction. The third attraction that I have for you today is called the Dent Schoolhouse. The Dent Schoolhouse was opened in 1894 in Cincinnati, Ohio. The school taught kindergarten through 12th grade. As the legend follows, in 1942, several students known for their disruption in the classroom mysteriously vanished, and they were last seen at the Dent Public School. The Dent police began an investigation and came to the conclusion that they must be runaways. 2 years later, in 1945, 4 students went missing in October. Rumors started to spread that the local children disappearing had something to do with the school, but it wasn't until 1952 when 3 more students were not seen after school. Students at the public school began to complain about a strange smell that was coming from the basement. When Charlie, the head of janitorial services, was asked about the smell, he said it was the pipes clogging up. After a couple of weeks, the smell subsided. In October of 1955, more than 7 students vanished without a trace. The local kids again began to complain about a smell that was coming from the basement. The smell was so horrible that it actually caused some children to pass out. Community members of Dent rallied together and stormed up to the Dent Public School. The angry mob busted down the large doors of the schoolhouse and proceeded to go into the basement of the school. The local rioters were shocked at the grisly sight that was strung throughout the janitor's basement. The basement was covered with the decaying remains of missing students. Bodies had been sealed in barrels, wedged behind the brick walls of the basement, and left in sanitary tubs to decay forever. A search for the janitor went over 2 weeks, but he was never found. The school was closed shortly after the discovery. The old schoolhouse is now said to be haunted with the roaming spirits of the children that were taken care of by the janitor. Rumors are that the janitor came back after several years of the schoolhouse being closed. His body was never found, but his spirit is still said to clean the old building.
Hello, scaredy cats. Today I'm going to be reading 2 stories, one from Reddit and one from yourscarystories.com. This is from Reddit user smegma_toast. I was in my room when I heard this loud crash come from the doorway of my home. I went out to where it was and I saw that an angel sculpture had fallen onto the floor. The thing is that this sculpture string was placed on a metal hook, and the only way for it to be taken down is taking the string and pulling it up and over the hook. There's no way that it would just fall. The string would have to be compromised, but it wasn't. I didn't think much of it until I looked at the settings on my iPhone because I wanted to see how much space I had left. I was planning on going somewhere and taking lots of videos. The space left was 6.66 gigabytes. I couldn't help but think of the whole "the devil is a fallen angel" thing. It was creepy. This is from BlockGunner453 on yourscarystories.com. It all happened a few days ago, and let me be clear, I have no actual memory of what happened. My mom told me what actually happened. After coming back home from school, doing all my homework, and blah blah blah, all that stuff that a high school kid does after coming home, we went to sleep. We live in a rented apartment because our actual house is being built right now. My dad was on a business trip, so my mom, my brother, and my 2 sisters were the only ones apart from me in the apartment. I sleep in my room, my sister sleeps in hers, my mom and my other sister in my parents' room, and my brother was sleeping on the couch instead of his room. His AC had broken down, and it becomes unbearably hot to sleep in the room. It's 4 a.m., and my mom hears something in the kitchen. She thought it was our pet cat messing around, but she realized she was wrong when she heard the kitchen drawer being opened. She comes to the kitchen only to see me with a knife in my hand. The following dialogue happened. Mom. Matt, which is a fake name that this person is using. What are you doing? Me. Lady, I'm not Matt. Mom. Then who are you? Me. Need not to know. Mom. Cut the bullshit and put the knife down. Me. You'll regret this, lady. I was just trying to protect your family. Mom. From who? Me, with a grin. Need not to know. My mom grabs a jug of detox juice, water, and throws it all over me. That's where I gained consciousness. I had no clue how I got there and ask her how I got to the kitchen, and she tells me she doesn't know. The next morning, my mom told me everything that happened. My mind right now is not in its right place. I've had bad sleep for the past couple of days. My friends think that I got DID, dissociative identity disorder, and I'm pretty sure that's not how it works. P.S. My mom didn't sleep the whole night after that.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Spooky Stories to Listen to in the Dark. We'll scare you later.